ladies and gentlemen, you may be tired, you may be frustrated, and it might look like nothing is changing. You've prayed, believed, and done everything you know to do. But the door still hasn't opened. The healing hasn't come. The promotion hasn't shown up. But let me remind you, you're closer than you think. What looks like a delay is not denial. What feels like a setback is often just a setup for something greater. God hasn't forgotten you. He's lining things up behind the scenes that you can't see. Sometimes, before your biggest breakthrough, life gets the hardest. The pressure increases, the noise gets louder, and the temptation to quit becomes stronger. But that's not the time to give up. That's the time to dig in. That's when you remind yourself, I'm closer than I think. My miracle, my healing, my answer. It's already on the way. You'll often find that the darkest moments come right before the dawn. The enemy fights the hardest when he knows you're closest to victory. Think about it. When something is about to change, there's always pressure, resistance, and intensity. The same way a storm rages the fiercest before it clears, your life can feel the most overwhelming right before God does something extraordinary. Sometimes you're right on the edge of your breakthrough and don't even realize it, because all you can see are the obstacles standing in your way. When life gets heavy, when you're surrounded by uncertainty, when doors seem to keep closing, that's not the time to give up. That's the time to lean in with greater faith. The pressure is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It's often proof that you are on the verge of something significant. You see, before every blessing comes a test. Before every miracle comes a moment that demands your faith. That's why it's crucial to keep standing, keep believing, and keep speaking victory even when everything around you says otherwise. Many times, we misinterpret the difficulty. We think the struggle means we're failing, but the truth is, the struggle often means something powerful is being birthed inside of us. Just like a woman giving birth experiences the greatest pain right before the delivery, your spiritual labor pains, the trials, the waiting, the disappointment are signals that something is about to be delivered into your life. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. There are seasons when it feels like you're doing everything right, but nothing seems to work. You've prayed, you've believed, you've stayed faithful, yet it feels like God is silent. But even in that silence, God is moving. He's shifting things, aligning people, preparing the right opportunity. Sometimes, before your breakthrough arrives, God has to remove what's standing in the way. He has to prune relationships, close doors, and rearrange circumstances so that when your moment comes, everything fits perfectly. Think about Joseph. He had a dream of greatness, but before he ever saw it fulfilled, he faced betrayal, slavery, and prison. For years, it looked like nothing was happening. In fact, it looked like his life was going backward. But one day, suddenly everything changed. In the morning, he was in a prison cell. By the evening, he was standing in Pharaoh's palace, second in command over Egypt. One divine moment of favor turned years of pain into a platform of purpose. That's how quickly God can turn things around for you. It doesn't take years for Him to fulfill His promise. It only takes a moment of His favor. So don't judge your future based on how things look right now. Don't conclude that God's forgotten you because you've been waiting longer than expected. Every tear, every sleepless night, every sacrifice, none of it is wasted. God keeps a record of your faithfulness, and when the time is right, He will reward you openly. You might feel like nothing is happening, but in the unseen realm, God is arranging the details. Heaven is moving even when earth looks still. Sometimes the reason things get harder before they get better is because your faith is being refined. When gold goes through the fire, it doesn't mean it's being destroyed. It's being purified. God allows the heat, the pressure, the intensity, not to harm you, but to strengthen you. Every delay builds endurance. Every disappointment deepens your dependence on Him. Every closed door protects you from something that wasn't meant for you. And when the breakthrough finally comes, you'll be ready to carry it with humility and gratitude. You might feel like you've been overlooked. Maybe you've watched others get their promotions, their relationships, their breakthroughs, while you're still waiting. But remember, God hasn't forgotten your name. The same God who promoted Joseph, who parted the Red Sea, who raised Lazarus. He knows exactly where you are. And just as He did for them, He's about to do something for you. When it feels like nothing's happening, remember God is working in the unseen. You may not see it, but the pieces are moving in your favor. The scripture says, we walk by faith, not by sight. That means we don't base our expectations on what we see. We base them on what we know. And we know that God is faithful. What you can see is temporary. What you can't see, the work of God behind the scenes, is eternal. You might not see progress, but that doesn't mean progress isn't happening. There are times when it looks like doors are closing, but those very doors are the ones God is using to guide you to something better. You may have lost a job, but that loss is what opens space for a new opportunity. You may have walked through a painful breakup, but that separation is what made room for healing and growth. What looks like chaos to you often makes perfect sense to God. He sees the full picture, the connections, the timing, the people you haven't met yet, and the places you're destined to be. He's not just looking at your today, He's preparing your tomorrow. Every no is leading you to the right wise. Every delay is protecting you from danger you can't see. Every unanswered prayer is setting you up for something beyond what you asked for. God doesn't waste anything. He takes what looks broken and turns it into beauty. He takes what feels like a setback and uses it as a stepping stone toward your destiny. That's why you have to trust His timing even when His plan doesn't make sense. There's a story in the Bible about Elijah praying for rain after years of drought. He sent his servant to look toward the sea, and the servant came back 6 times saying, I don't see anything. But Elijah didn't give up. He kept praying, knowing that just because he couldn't see it didn't mean God wasn't doing it. On the 7th time, the servant said, I see a small cloud the size of a man's hand. That tiny cloud was the beginning of a downpour. Sometimes all you'll see is a small sign, a little bit of progress, a whisper of change. But that's proof that something is happening. Keep believing, the rain is coming. When you trust God in the unseen, you live with peace. You stop trying to control everything. You stop fighting battles that aren't yours. You rest, knowing that God is orchestrating the outcome. Maybe right now, you can't see how your dreams will come true, how the healing will happen, or how the situation will turn around. But that's what faith is for. It fills the gap between what you see and what God promised. Faith says, I don't have to see it to believe it. Faith says, even when it looks impossible, I know my God can make a way. Faith says, even when I'm in the dark, I trust that the light is coming. God has not forgotten you. He's not ignoring your prayers. He's working on something so perfectly timed, so precisely orchestrated, that when it comes together, you'll stand in awe and say, "Now I understand why it took so long." So don't be discouraged by the silence. Don't misinterpret stillness as absence. The same God who hung the stars in place is arranging the details of your destiny. The same God who created the seasons knows exactly when your season of breakthrough will come. You may not see it, but He's setting the stage for your blessing. Right now, angels are being positioned, people are being moved, opportunities are being formed. The unseen is preparing the scene. Keep your eyes on God, not the circumstances. Keep your hope alive, even when the evidence is invisible. Because in time, what's been hidden will be revealed. What's been delayed will be delivered. And you'll realize that, when you wake up each morning, declare, "Today could be the day my breakthrough happens." Live with a sense of holy expectation. Don't go through your day dragging, defeated, thinking nothing will ever change. Expect favor. Expect opportunity. Expect restoration. What you anticipate is often what you attract. If you expect failure, you'll find it. But if you wake up believing something good is coming your way, you'll see doors open that you didn't even knock on. Faith is not just believing in God, it's believing that God is working for you. When you live with expectancy, you prepare your heart for miracles. You start walking like someone who knows their blessing is already on the way. That's the kind of faith that moves heaven. A faith that refuses to be silent, refuses to settle, refuses to give up. When you expect God to do something, you live ready. You stay alert. You recognize divine opportunities when they show up. There's power in what you expect. When you carry the right attitude, you draw God's favor. Remember the woman with the issue of blood. She had suffered for years, spent all she had, and nothing worked. But she said to herself, "If I can just touch the hem of His garment, I'll be healed." That was expectation. She pressed through the crowd, pushed past doubt, and reached out in faith. And in that moment, everything changed. Her expectation pulled the miracle into her life. Maybe you've been praying for years. You've believed for breakthrough after breakthrough, but it still hasn't come. Don't lose your expectancy. The same God who answered her will answer you. When you stop expecting, you stop believing. When you stop believing, you stop receiving. Your faith has to stay active. Even if you don't know when or how, you must wake up every day saying, "This could be the day." That's what keeps your spirit alive and your hope burning. When you keep moving forward with expectation, you attract divine acceleration. You may have walked through years of disappointment, seasons of waiting, or moments where it felt like nothing would ever change. But the truth is, you're not forgotten, you're not overlooked, and you're not behind. Every step, every tear, every prayer has been leading you right here to the edge of something new. The same God who began the work in you will finish it. He hasn't brought you this far to leave you now. You are closer than you think to your breakthrough. Sometimes, the hardest moments come right before the blessing. The pressure means you're near the promise. The silence means God is speaking behind the scenes. And the waiting means something greater is being formed. Don't give up because you don't see results yet. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep walking by faith, not by sight. Your miracle may be closer than your next breath. One touch of God's favor can turn years of struggle into sudden victory. Just as Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister in a single day, Just as David went from shepherd to king overnight, God can shift your situation in an instant. What you've been praying for, fighting for, and hoping for can show up when you least expect it. That's why you can't quit now. You've come too far to turn around. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is working in your life, even now. When it gets tough, remind yourself the pain is temporary, but the promise is permanent. The storm will pass, but what God is building in you will last forever. Every challenge you've endured is preparing you for the blessing that's about to come. Stay faithful in the waiting, stay joyful in the testing, and stay peaceful in the process. So lift your head, straighten your shoulders, and declare it by faith. Vath, I am closer than I think, because you are. The healing is on the way. The promotion is being prepared. The answer is already released from heaven. It's not a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. Your season of breakthrough is not coming someday far off in the distance. It's coming soon. Get ready, because what God has promised is about to show up. And it's going to be more than you imagined, greater than you expected, and sooner than you think.